Today we have two sets of markers, one priced at $120 and the other priced at $20. Which one is worth it at their price? That's what we're here to find out. What's going on YouTube? My name is ADCArtAttack, his name is Bob, and welcome back to a new year. That's right, it is the first video of 2020. I hope you had fantastic holiday seasons. I know I did, and I hope you got what you wanted, because I did. So in today's video, I figured we would do something way different from everything else we've done in this series. We won't be using my Pro and Brush markers. Today we have something very special, which may actually be the Pro Marker Killer. Bam! We got ourselves a big pack of Arteza markers. Now these are the EverBlend Arteza markers. There's 120 in this pack, as you can kind of see there. They come in a really nice bag here. This is pretty cool, and they're only $120, which means, yeah, you're looking at $1 per pen, which is super cheap. But it doesn't matter about the price if they don't work too good. Now we're gonna crack these open, see what we've got inside them. But firstly, let's have a look at what it's going up against. Faber-Castell. Yep, we've got Faber-Castell felt markers. These are clippable pens, and we've got 80 inside this pack, which is pretty damn good. And for $20, 80 markers seems pretty cool. These are unfortunately felt tip pens. They are not alcohol markers, but I mean, last time we used felt pens, they came out pretty damn good, and I mean, I really like them. So let's see what happens with this one. Now, as always, before we get on to actually using the pens, we need to use them ourselves, because I have never used them before. I don't know what to expect with each of these markers. So yeah, we're gonna do a couple of tests right now. And when we've done those very short tests, we're gonna jump into drawing Deadpool. Yep, Deadpool. Today we're going to be drawing the Merc with the Mouth. He is one of my favorite characters in Marvel fiction. I think it's absolutely a fantastic character. If you do like Deadpool, let me know down below in the comments. And if not, let me know who your favorite Marvel characters are. But hey, with that all being said, let's get on with doing these tests. And hopefully by the end of this video, you will be surprised, intrigued, and that's pretty much about it. Maybe you like the drawing as well, but it ain't about the drawing, it's about how these things perform. So let's find out. I should also add, guys, if you are looking to get yourself some of these markers, by the end of the video, I am an affiliate of Arteza, believe it or not, and I will have a link down below in the description where you can go straight to the site, get some of these pens, hook yourself up, hook me up, be a pretty good deal. But I don't want to recommend them just yet. Let's see what they're like. And if they're any good, I'll remind you at the end to click the link. Okay, so we have selected three colors, three that I think are pretty similar to each other. I don't know, I'm not the best at picking colors, but hey, these are the three colors we're going to be using, and hopefully they are kind of similar to each other. Now, I know it's difficult to tell what the Arteza EverBlend markers are because the design doesn't really show you too much except for on the ends of them. So apologies for that, just take my word for it. They are kind of the same as these ones. Oh god. Okay, yeah, no, I don't like that. It's really, it's hard to see, isn't it? It's really kind of peeling up the paper. And I mean, this is marker paper, so that's, we're off to a great start. Let's grab a darker color and see if that can, you know, save it. Okay, so this is a really good pigment, and this one actually feels a lot smoother than the last one. Let's see if we can blend them in. Yeah, no, maybe I've got a bit of a dud pen here. I mean, they're blending quite well, actually, to be fair, but this is really tearing up the paper, and it feels quite hard. This nib feels way harder than this one, so I don't know about that. This one makes a lot of noise, actually. The hell. Grabbing the EverBlend marker, let's see what happens with this one. So we're going to use the bullet nibs for this. We're not going to be using the blocky chisel tip, but we're going to use the bullet nibs for this, and that actually is really nice. That's a nice nib. That is pretty good. Okay, this one feels just as hard as the other one. But as you can see, I'm going over this, and I mean, I can do this all day, and it's not really going to damage the paper too much. So it's pretty good. Grabbing a darker color. Let's see what happens if we go over that. Whoa. Whoa, that blends really nice. I ain't even done anything, and that's just blending itself. EverBlend markers, we blend ourselves. Guys, wow, that is great. All right, guys, so let's get on with drawing Deadpool, and then we're going to begin coloring him in, and hopefully we can create some cool pieces of artwork, and let's just see how they go as we get used to them. So yeah, let's get on with doing Deadpool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so before we get on with using the markers, we have to get ourselves a base drawing down. And as we said, today we'll be doing Deadpool. So what we're going to do here is get ourselves a Deadpool reference. And it's a pretty good reference. This image is one of my favorite images of Deadpool, and it's going to serve for a fantastic base. Now, as the drawing is not totally important, that's why we're heavily referencing this one. We might make some changes as we go, and in fact, the markers themselves will probably dictate some of the changes. But hey, let's sketch this out right now, and I'll get back to you when we are ready to color. Alright guys, so it is finally time to start coloring, only 7 minutes into the video. We're going to start by using the Faber-Castells Clippable Pens. Now I will speak about this clippable feature later on in the video, but for now, let's grab ourselves this very luscious pink and start by layering a base color. Now, base colors are nothing special. I do these pretty much every one of my drawings. It doesn't matter what markers I'm using, I use a base color. I just think they're a nice thing to do. They sort of even the playing field instead of having like the white base. So I like it, especially when I'm layering on top of it. That being said, the paper is ripping like crazy. So I don't know how layering is even going to work here, but let's give it a go. Placing the reds on top of it, there is a lot of bleeding. And actually the bleeding is kind of working well here. It's adding a nice sort of smoothness to it, which I don't think is intentional because the paper's just ripped to shreds, which maybe that is kind of a good thing. I don't actually know. I guess we'll find out later on as we go into this, but it's working right now. Some of the minor details just aren't happening. I can't do any of the minor details or anything like that. That's just too much to ask. There was a lot of bleeding, as I say here. So yeah, there's also a lot of fiddly bits, and they're annoying, the fiddly bits. You don't see them right now, but I keep having to pause the video and sort of brush them away, you know, just kind of just get them out the way, and they're so annoying. If we give ourselves a cheeky little look right here, you can kind of see how this is layering. So it's actually not too bad in this area. It's not scratching up the paper too much, so that's pretty good. But you get this really streaky kind of look. Now this is the base color, obviously, so base color means nothing. It's going to get covered up. But the rest of the colors do have the streaky look as well, which is sort of going to force me to use a style which I probably wouldn't have used if I had practiced with these. So that is why I just jump into using them fresh on the paper, because it just kind of leads me into a direction I probably wouldn't have taken. And this is great. The style I'm actually going for here, the style we're being forced to use, is a very high contrast style, using that white highlight and the very dark shadows, giving us that kind of nostalgic look. And I really like it. This is really nice, and it's a treat to work with. It doesn't always have to be clean, and I love using these pens because they don't tie you to a restriction of being super clean, because when you're super clean, it is very easy to make a mistake, whereas when you are being intentionally messy, it doesn't matter. The whole thing is supposed to be a mistake, but one that just looks quite good, hopefully. And I just like that. I like the freedom of doing this, so I wouldn't worry too much about trying to always be clean, perfect, and make everything nice and not going out the lines. Screw that. I like this style. I think it looks pretty good, and I'm going to keep running with it. Now, when you come to the larger areas, this is where you usually see the faults in pens, because you've got such a large area to cover, and these felt pens don't have a chisel tip to assist them. They just have the standard nib size, so you're left scratching at the paper like a cat, just going crazy, you know. And yeah, now it's up to you, because art is in the eye of the beholder. Do you think it looks good or not? It's entirely up to you. I like it because once again, as I said before, it is a messy style. So this sort of scribbly look that I've got isn't me being lazy, it's an intentional mistake, and I really like it. There is also that bleeding that is coming from these pens themselves. Now, they do bleed quite heavily into each other. They are water-based, obviously, so the water stays quite active for a long time. But the bleeding, in conjunction with this very heavy, sort of scratchy line work, really has quite a unique look and something you can't necessarily achieve using a more professional grade marker. So that is something to be appreciated with these types of pens. When we move on to the black areas, I had no fear here because I was pretty confident that these were going to work super good. The greys and black tones are usually colors that you can't really go wrong with. It's very difficult to mess them up. And with these pens bleeding as much as they do and this sort of style I'm going for, I think it's going to be very easy to give a very nice appearance here. I'm going to be forcing a white highlight, which is just so easy to do with these. Again, all you got to do is work backwards with your grays and just isolate that white area, and it just gives an amazing offset contrast. It's so nice, and in combination with the reds around it, it's just going to look great. So let's finish this one up. Alright, so with the left hand side done, oh my god, there's a goddamn hair on the paper. What? I'm gonna be bald by the end of the year. Anyway, yeah, so the left hand side is now done, and we're not gonna review it right now. We're gonna move on to doing the Arteza EverBlend markers, and we'll review both of them at the end of the video together, like one happy family. Alright, so moving on to the EverBlend markers. Now, I'm gonna try my best to keep the styles the same across the board. Well, not the styles, but stuff like the highlights, the shadows, things like that. I'm gonna try and mirror them on the other side just to make it fair, so it's not, you know, ugly to look at the end. Now, right off the bat, I immediately regret using the apricot base color for this one. Now, it does work with the felt ones, but it doesn't really work with this alcohol markers, I guess. Now, I was a little bit sad though that the apricot was such a darker color than I had expected it to. But one thing I didn't know is there's a blender within this marker pack, which I don't really like blenders, but right now it's actually going to save this. The blender is going to allow me to, well, you can see it. It's allowing me to make that apricot lighter, which is actually really nice, and it's allowing just a soft blend into the highlight, which is just a great way to save the piece. So I'm thankful for the blender. Woohoo. You will immediately notice that these colors are a lot duller, I guess. Is that duller? Is duller a word? They're a lot more duller. Doesn't sound right. They're very dull when compared to felt markers. Felt markers are just more vibrant and they just look more appealing, I guess. However, with these being so dull and having such a great blend, it does make them a little bit more versatile with what you can do in terms of, you know, if you wanted to shading, realism, cartoons, things like that. You just have much more versatility with these being the way they are. And with that being said, there is bleeding with these, but I do have a little bit more control over this bleeding. The nibs work out pretty well, which has allowed me to do some of those finer details that I wasn't able to do using the felt markers. That's not to say that these nibs are thinner, it's just that they are a little bit softer, the ink flow isn't as fast, but it's not slow. I should say that the ink flow is actually really, really good. Like, it is keeping up with my very fast scribbles pretty well. All but one pen, the apricot. Now, it doesn't matter too much because the apricot is a base layer and pretty much 99% of that is covered anyway. But yeah, when I'm using it, I know that when it comes to doing the larger areas, the apricot one would just suck. But when we compare it to the red, however, I mean, no. Let's take the red out and do the red separate. Look at this red. It is so smooth. So smooth. Like, it's really nice. The color flow is fantastic, and just the coverage is perfect. You couldn't ask for a better coverage than this. I'm double layering, I'm going over it, and it is still beautiful. So that is one big thing with these markers, is just the smoothness of the application is just amazing. So well done, EverBlend. And the way that they work together, the blending together, is really nice. The way that these things blend, I would say for someone starting out with artwork or someone who struggles with blending in general, these are amazing for you. Some of the colors still require you to have a little bit of skill just moving colors around, you know, just layering on top of each other, but for the most part, these kind of do it themselves. Even in the larger areas, I don't really have many struggles with the blending itself or the application of the colors. Now moving on to the black areas, once again I don't see them being a problem at all, and if anything they should be a lot easier to do as I'm going to get smoother blendings. As we're seeing already, the reds are pretty much much smoother than the left hand sides, but you never know. So let's start doing them. We're going to do them the exact same way that I've been doing the reds, just going to do them with the darker colors. And yeah, I'm going to let this quickly play out and I will catch you at the end where we are going to review both of them together and enjoy. I'll catch you in a moment. Just call me Angel, I'm the Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the final piece, and I gotta say, first look, both sides look pretty cool, but they offer different things. So let's take a closer look at each one individually. Starting off with the Faber-Castells Clippable Pens. What can be said about them other than they're pretty damn good? Now they have the big drawback of being felt pens where they just tear your paper to pieces. And yeah, if you are to use these, you would need to get yourself a very thick marker paper. But the vibrancy, the colors, the gritty nature of it really does appeal to me, and I really do like it. I think it looks absolutely great, actually. It has a sort of nostalgic look to it, and I really like it. I think at $20 for 80 pens, you are getting a bargain here. It's pretty damn good, and this clippable feature really does actually come in handy. I wouldn't say it's a gimmick at all. It's amazing that you can keep all of the pens and colors that you're using at that given time together, lock them in place, and you've got them organized on your desk. You don't have to do what I kept on doing, which was taking them apart each time you use them. You could just slide the pen out, keeping the caps attached to each other, and slide the pen back in. It is a great way of using them, and I really do like this feature. All in all, very happy with these pens. Moving over to the Arteza EverBlend markers. Now these claim to be professional markers, and are they professional? Actually, yeah. I really did like them. It was really enjoyable. I was very surprised using them, and the blending was fantastic. It is a shame that you are limited to using bullet nibs as opposed to having brush tip variants. The design of these pens being triangular is everything. It is absolutely amazing. These things don't roll around. Now, most of the pens that I use have an odd shape to them, or they have a clip on the side of them that stops them rolling around anyway. So it's not a unique feature that they don't roll. But in terms of the grip, how they feel, it actually feels really comfortable in your hand, really comfortable. Despite the size of them, you don't really notice that. They are comfortable and they're not too heavy. They have a massive selection of colors, especially in the grays. I don't know what they were doing here, but they went crazy with the gray tones. But at $120 for 120 pens, are they worth it? 100%. I would certainly say so. They have a massive drawback, and that big drawback is that you cannot buy these pens individually. So if you run out of a color, you're screwed. So yeah, as a starter pack, if you're looking to just have something to begin with, practice with, move into the professional marker scene, I think these are fantastic. I would highly recommend them. So I gotta say it, link in the description down below to get your very own Arteza EverBlend markers. So now the question is to you, the viewer. Looking at the two of them side by side, looking at them purely just based on the results, not how they were used, not how they felt in your hands, because you didn't get that experience, only I did. What do you think? Which one would you personally go for? Would you rather spend $20 for 80 felt markers and get the results on the left-hand side, or would you rather spend 120 markers, get 120 alcohol markers, and have the results on the right-hand side? Leave your comments down below, letting me know. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is all we have time for today. I hope you did enjoy today's video. I know it was a very long one, and I do apologize for that, but it is the first video of 2020, and I wanted it to start off pretty big. If there are any pens or anything you'd like to see me compare against each other, leave them down below in the comments. I know I've asked you to do a lot today, but I just love the interaction. Well, here is to 2020. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are too, and thank you all for starting off the year with me here. From myself and from Bob, till next time, bye-bye.